What you have just seen is PowerPoint animation of motion in a straight line where there is a collision between two objects. This one is something which teachers have to deal with all the time, especially when they are teaching about collisions and conservation of momentum. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you do simple animation for motion in a straight line that involves collision. Welcome. So let's go to a blank PowerPoint slide so that we can draw the objects and then animate the same. And here we are. The slide that I've just shown you is this one. So let's insert a new slide so that I can show you how you do this from scratch. So this is a new slide. We are going to go to View, insert the grid onto this page so that when you draw a horizontal line, it's perfectly straight. And then you're going to insert a straight line. Notice when I want to insert shapes, I'll go to Insert, then go to Shapes, click on that arrow, and I have access to straight lines. So I click on that. I want my line to start from this dot there and move all the way to this other center dot here. That will ensure that the line that I'm trying to draw is perfectly straight. Let me make it to be a little bit fine and dark. And of course, I can increase its thickness by going to Format, Shape Outline, Weight, and then see what happens when I run the cursor along these various weights of lines. Let me pick that one. And then I'm going to slide these using the downward arrows all the way to some point at the center of the screen or at the center of the slide, somewhere around there. The next thing is to shade this lower part. Now, how do I do that? I'll simply go to the shapes. By the way, the moment you start using shapes, they will appear here. They will definitely appear here. So pick a rectangle, draw a rectangle from this point all the way maybe to this other point, somewhere there, so that it sort of covers the line. Then you'll go to Format. Immediately you select a shape, the Format tab is active. So you'll go here and say Fill. First of all, we don't want any outline on this rectangle. So Shape Outline, no outline. Go to Fill, navigate to Textures, all the way to More Textures, and then there will be this window which is displayed here. You'll go to Pattern, and you can see the kind of pattern that I want to use. It is this one here. Click on it, and the pattern appears. You can make it big, you can make it small. It really depends on what you want to do. But you can see that that pattern has hidden our line there. I want that line to be visible. So I'm going to move this rectangle to be behind this line. So how do I do that? Format tab, and then bring or send back. I want to send it back. And here, send back. And now you have the shape that I was talking about, or that I've just used here. You can see I've just used that. So I've drawn this section here. Let's proceed. Next, I want to remove this grid because now it no longer serves any purpose. Then insert shape. This time with the rounded corners, you can pick a shape such as this one, and you can start drawing your shape right from this point. And let's assume that is a shape that you want. Let's fill it with an intensively blue, dark blue color. And then while the shape is still selected, type a letter, and that letter will go right at the center of the shape. You don't have to insert a text box here. So I'm going to make it bold and maybe even make it a little bit larger. Let me use 36. 36 is good enough. This shape, I'm going to give it an outline. Maybe let us say shape outline. I give it a green outline, something like that. Just a green outline, just to make it stand out. And then that outline, I'm going to make it a little bit thicker to have a little bit more weight there. Now I want to move this object to be behind the line for better effect, or just to be just above the line, something like that. When it is in that position, I can move it below or behind the line. So I'll go to Format, Send Back. This time I use this because I want to send it back once, just once, like that. And you can see now I've got a nice object sitting on this surface. Then I'm going to draw another one here which is bigger than this. The best is to just copy that and paste. So Control C and then Control V, and I have the second shape. I move it to where the previous one was. I slide it all the way to some beautiful point here, and now I can increase its length like that, so that it is much larger than this one. And then also change this letter into uppercase M there, so that they appear to be different. And then again you can see that it comes above this line. I want it to be behind that line. So I go to Format, then Send Back once, and there it is. Now I'm ready to animate this object because I want it to move to the right. First of all, let me put away these panes because I want you to follow step by step. So the next step is to animate this object here. So I'm going to select it, and then I'll go to Animations, click on it, and then come all the way to where it is written Add Animations. Click this downward arrow, and I've got so many other animations that have been shown here. Then proceed to more motion paths like that, because I want this object to move to the right. So I've got so many paths which are given here. Move down, move diagonally, move to the left. I want it to move to the right. So I click there, and you can see already I click on it, the object starts to move. But now it moves until it goes beyond the point where it's supposed to make contact with this one. So I have an option here of sliding this forward. So I have to slide this object all the way to some point there. I don't know how far I'm supposed to slide it because I just want this object to just make contact with this. So I need to see this one again. So at this point, I'm going to activate the animation pane. When I click on it, it appears here. So let me play it once again. And there. So I can see that it actually goes beyond that point. So I'm going to slide this till maybe it is at that point. Let me move it again. There. Again. I slide it again to the right. I'm using the arrow keys to move it forward and backwards as well as upwards and downwards. Again, I play it again. So I've just got to move it back just a short distance backwards. So I move it just a short distance. Again, I play it like that, and they just make contact. And that is what I want. So let me play it again. It just makes contact. After they make contact, I now want the two to move as one object. So I'm going to select the first object, then I press Ctrl in order to select both of them, like that. The moment both of them are selected, I go back to animation and add more animation here, more animation path, and I still want it to move to the right. So you can see both of them now move to the right. Let me play this animation once again, starting from the first animation. Makes contact, and then both of them move to the right. But you can see there is a bit of a problem there. This one moves. They have not made any contact. So I will go to the animation, to the second animation of the first object, this one here, and I will slide this animation line. So I'm going to slide this animation all the way to the right until it comes to a point where it had ended. Somewhere around that point. I think that is a point. So let's play it once again and see. Moves like that, makes contact, and then both of them move with the same speed. I can see that the line that I had drawn is a little bit too short. So let me just click on that shape, make it a little bit longer, make it go beyond that point. This other one also, make it go beyond that point. That one takes care of that. Now you can see that these objects, they move with the same speed. When the two objects collide, stick together and move as one object, the speed is usually slowed down. So how do you slow down the motion of the second motion rather? So you'll have to come here and click on this, and you'll be able to make the motion. You'll go to timing. If you want it to move slowly, you're going to increase this time. Maybe let's go to 5 seconds. You're also going to make some changes here. But first of all, I want to change that one for the first body and the second body. Make it 5 seconds, each one of them. Like that. So that takes care of the speeds. Let's again play it, starting from the first one. Moves, collides with it, and then the two move to the right with a much slower velocity. That is the effect which I want. Now let's play the slideshow and see what happens. So I go to slideshow, then I say current slide. Let's see what happens when I click. So the first object moves, makes contact with it, but then nothing happens until I click again. So what can I be able to do in order for it to start automatically? The moment they collide, the other animation picks up immediately. What can I do? So let's see what happens here. So let me end the motion. We go back to this, the animation for this first object. By the way the animations are arranged here, they are arranged in the order in which they take place. So let me go to the first one, which is written 2. You can see that during the slideshow, these are the clicks. The first click runs the first animation. The second click runs the second animation. But I now want all the animations to be run using one click. So I'll go to this, the first number 2 written there. Then I'll click on that arrow, and then I want that animation to start after the previous. So you can see it immediately jumps here and the numbers disappear. which means there will be only one click. I'll just make one click and all this motion takes place. Let's again run the slideshow and see what happens. So I start the motion again, just one click, they collide, and now they move together. And that is what I wanted. But you can see that there is a bit of delay here. There is a bit of delay. When they collide, it's as if the whole motion stops and then starts once again. That is not supposed to be the case. The motion is supposed to start spontaneously. There should be no delay between the collision and the second motion starting. So let's go back to the animations and see what changes we can be able to make. So this one will affect the second motion. So I'll go to this motion here. Let me go to timing, or rather, when I'm still here, I can go to effects, and I want this to start. I don't want it to have a smooth start, although a smooth start of about 0.1 of a second may be okay. So let me make this one to be 0.1, a very short duration. How about the smooth end? I don't want any smooth end. Yeah, so that affects that first body. I will have to do the same with this second body here. So I go to timing, effects. Again, I want to reduce this one to 0.1, and then there will be no smooth end. So I make the smooth end to be 0. Again, that one is done. So let's go to the slideshow and see the effect. So again, I start the first motion, they collide and start off with that particular speed. But there is some sort of jerking motion here. I don't know whether you've noticed it. Let's see what happens. This body comes. It's as if again it starts with a jerk. How do I remove that kind of jerking motion? Let me see. Let me just go to this. It's maybe because I never slowed down this one here. Let me go to timing and allow it to slow down at in the effects. It has a smooth start. There should be no smooth start, so I remove that. A smooth end, there should be no smooth ending. No smooth ending. It will simply be like that. But maybe the smooth ending here may take 0.1 of a second. Let me just increase that and maybe 0.1 of a second, just for good effects. Let me again run the slideshow. So I start the motion, they collide and start over. Now that one appears to be much better than the previous. There is no delay during the collision. So let's run the slideshow again. Over there, collides and they move together. And now this motion can be used when you are teaching your students about collisions. Many times we have this kind of question. You have a lighter object, maybe let's say this one is a bullet. It's moving into this large piece of wood, for example, and this bullet will go into this piece of wood and the two will move together with a certain common velocity. So when you're describing this type of motion, this simulation or this animation can help your student to visualize the motion, because all you need to do is just play it and the student can be able to see that after the collision. You can even ask them questions like, for example, I'd like you to observe this type of motion and tell me what you see. Make several observations and you start the motion. So they'll be able to make conclusions or to make observations such as initially M1 is moving with a constant velocity because it is clear its velocity is constant. Then after collision, the two objects now move together and the new velocity is also uniform. It is constant, but it is less in magnitude compared to the first motion. How do you get your students to make that kind of observation? Is because they can be able to see this type of motion. If you are expecting them to make any kind of observations just from a question, you might be demanding too much from these students. So make use of simulations or animations such as this one in order to drive the point home. So in this video, I was able to show you how you animate simple motions, linear motion using PowerPoint. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you do more animations, especially when it involves two bodies that have been grouped together.